Here we go. Great. Wait a second to do that. Hi, I'm Tom Keating, founder and CEO of Cognitopia, where we created the platform for self-determination. And I'm here today, and it's one of a series of webinars that we're doing to show you different aspects of the platform. Last time, we focused on our digital portfolio, My Life, which is a tool for person-centered planning and ISP self-direction and a number of other things. Today, we're going to focus on routines, which is a tool for uh, task analysis and giving people an easy way to illustrate the steps of accomplishing tasks. And so I'm going to share my screen and I'll do a really quick overview of the platform with a few slides, and then we'll dig into routines and uh, try to keep that to about 10 or 15 minutes. Then we'll go into the tool itself, and I'll show you how it works. And then hopefully there'll be a little time for questions after that as well. Okay, so Cognitive, as I said, it's a platform for self-determination. We call it the place where self-determination comes to life. And the reason for that is that our whole thing is creating tools for neurodiverse users to take more control over their world and have a voice in their lives, or a stronger voice in their lives, and giving people the tools to do that. So Cognitopia, technically, it's a web-based platform. So you go to our website and you use it. You don't have to download it from the Apple Store or Google Play. And the nice thing about that is that it works on any device. So any device that has an internet connection and a web browser can be used for Cognitopia. That could be a cheap tablet off the shelf at a big box store, or it can be, a really nice iPad. Really, the internet connection is probably the main determiner of what the user experience is going to be. It's about building independence for the end users, and about support coordination for the people on their team. One of the things about Cognitopia is that if a user has a license, they can have, as part of that, anybody on their team. It can be parents, teachers, friends, therapists, uh, VR counselors, job developers, anybody who's in a position to help you get where you want to go can be on your Cognitopia team, and that gives them some tools that can help bolster your interdependence with them. I'm going to emphasize here that there's a number of remote coaching tools that are built into the platform, and it gives folks the ability to not need to be in the same room when they're doing things, and you can still have a pulse on how things are going. It's a transition tool. It began as a research project that was focused on transition from secondary school to adulthood, and helping transitioning students carry their story and all their years of educational experience with them more successfully into adulthood, and being able to articulate what was important to them, the kind of jobs they wanted to have, and where they like to live, and so on, and to do this all with multimedia. So, but even beyond that secondary transition use case, the there are lots of transition hazards in adulthood. So, a given individual may receive services where the rate of turnover and the people who provide those services is really frequent. So if you've got some tools to like tell your story, who you are, how you manage, and where you want to go in life, then that's important. I mentioned the three tools. The three tools are My Life, which is a digital portfolio we focused on last time. And if you missed that session and you'd like to know more about that, feel free to reach out to me or to Naomi. I sent some materials to Naomi, a little overview and the slide deck from last session, and I'll do likewise with this week's session too. So there's lots of ways, or you can just reach out to me and I'll follow up individually with you. Routines is where we're going to focus today, and that's a tool for multimedia task analysis, and I'll leave that there because we're going to spend more time on it. And then Goal Guide also has task analysis built into it, but Goal Guide, as the name implies, it lets you create goals, schedule them, get reminders on your mobile device, and complete your goals. And if you want, have other people on your team see how you're progressing through your goals in case you need help, or if everything's going fine, then they don't need to bother you. Okay. So when you log into Cognitopia, which anybody's welcome to create a trial account on Cognitopia, and it's a full featured account, and it's got a really a generous trial period. So feel free to do that. You go to cognitopia.com. When you log in, you'll see this is the dashboard, and these are the three tools. There's some other tools over here that if we do another one of these webinars, we can focus on some of the functionality over here, and we might touch on that when I'm doing the live demo of routines today too. So let's talk about routines. Routines is a way to illustrate the steps of accomplishing a task. And there's 4 ways to create them. We have a library on the platform of several hundred routines, and they're there to show people what you can do with routines, illustrate some good examples of task analysis, and uh, and they're available to anyone to adopt if they want to make their own, and then you grab it from the routines library, and now it's yours. And you can do it if you want with it. You can edit it. You can share it with other people. You can create them from scratch, and we made that really easy to do. You can use our AI assistant to create a routine for you. You say, how do I don't know, how do I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You'll get the steps back. And then if you want, you can add images and videos to help dig into how exactly to do that task. And then you can also import existing materials. So, there may be people who have like a Word document or a spreadsheet that has the steps of doing different things that are important. And you can just paste those in here, and it becomes one of our routines with images and videos and so on. And let me just, I'll some of these other points here, I'll show you as we go along. But first, let me show you what routines look like. So they are, as I said, they're just steps for task accomplishment. You can have videos, you can have images, and I mentioned adopting them from the community library. One of the most important things about routines is they automatically have a QR code. So when you create a routine, it has a QR code, and you can print that code out and use it in different ways. So if this code here is on this dishwasher, someone who's learning how to use that can scan it, get the steps of doing it. And that's helpful not just to the person who's maybe learning that job, but also to the person who's supporting them. So if there's a direct support professional who's teaching how to use that thing, having the steps easily retrievable when and where you need them means that the person who's teaching is going to be teaching it the same way. And if there are multiple people teaching that task, then that's really important that everybody's on the same page with that. But it also is a way for someone to not be unnecessarily reliant on other people telling them what to do, right? If I'm not sure how to use this somewhat hot and intimidating, dangerous looking piece of machinery, I can scan the code and get the steps of using it safely. Okay. Now you can also have codes that you carry around with you, so they don't have to be in the environment. So we have these little booklets, and you can scan a code. Like this first one is morning routine. And by the way, any of the codes I'm showing you on the screen, if you want to try it, you can scan the code while it's up there, and you'll get that routine because you don't need a Cognitopia account to see these routines once they're shared into the world with a QR code. So yeah, this one, first one is morning routine, and then there's cook something. I think it's French toast is on there, and so on, and then clean the kitchen. So there's some of us need reminders about doing things, and this is just a really sort of rich way of getting reminders, right? You can remind yourself by scanning a code. We do some work within a company called CVS Health, and they have a very ambitious program of trying to hire people with autism and intellectual disabilities. And they're using our program in their training and job site or job performance uh, situations. So one of the things, and this is an example, so we just looked at like how to do a dishwasher or how to stack a shelf in a retail store. Let me go back here really quickly to that last one. Here the codes could be on the shelf. Like I said, they could be in a booklet. They could be just in a break room before you go on a shift, and you kind of scan the code and get the reminders about how to do that thing. But here, it's a little bit different. It's more of a social skill task analysis or social script. If you're working in a store, which is, pretty much they train people to be store employees or pharmacy assistants. And they have other things too, like warehouse work and things like that. But this just illustrates if you're in a store, you need a script and what to do and what to say under different circumstances. So what do you do if someone's happy and satisfied? What do you do if they have a complaint? What do you do if they're extremely upset? And these just we all have to learn these things. These are not just second nature to anybody. Uh, Lots of illustrations of this for managing around the house or in the community. If this code is on the laundry machine and you need a reminder about how to do that, you scan the code and you get the instructions. This one, if you scan this code, it actually starts with a really offbeat video that a group of neurodiverse audiovisual developers who work with us here in Eugene. By the way, that's where I am. I'm in Eugene, Oregon, beaming in from the other side of the country. But they created some, like I said, offbeat videos to make doing stuff like laundry a little bit more fun, but also informative and instructive at the same time. You could have a set of codes like this in the kitchen, in a booklet or on the refrigerator. We have, people who provide supported living services who use these all around the house, wherever you need to know how to do something. There's a very small, discrete code there, and you can scan it and find out what you're supposed to be doing. So, I wanted to go through routines really quickly, and I'm just gonna, hit a couple of these points here that are important about our whole platform and about routines, because everything we do is about supporting people with disabilities and the team members who work with them, enabling behaviors, that build self-determination. It's one thing to talk about self-determination, but the way we all build self-determination is by taking more control over our lives and being able to tell our story more effectively. And that's what we're doing with our tools. It's very much person-centered and strength-based. As I mentioned when I was talking about the My Life digital portfolio last week, people can use that for path planning or other kinds of person-centered planning. It gives people a way to take a leadership role in their ISP process or whatever the name is for the adult version of an IEP that is used under sort of community-based services. Let you tell your story and with whatever media that you want, with images, with video, with audio. I mentioned transition, and this is important here, is that if someone has a Cognitopia account and they don't have a current license, they don't lose anything that they've created. So we see this when students graduate school. One of the problems is people's information kind of vanishes sometimes, uh, but not in this case. So if a student has a license, they keep it, after they leave school, and it can be picked up and supported by Voc Rehab or DD Services, or in New Jersey. I know you have self-directed supports, and we have people in New Jersey using it that way and getting it funded that way. And most importantly, it just changes and grows with you uh, throughout your adulthood. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my browser now where I've got the platform up here live. And this is the dashboard that I showed you in that slide. And I'm going to go here to the routines tool, and we'll let that load up. So this is a very, fully developed account, okay? And it's got a lot of routines in it. But if you didn't, when you create a trial account, if you choose to do that, you'll not have any routines in here because you haven't either created any or adopted any from the routines library. But you could do that by going over here and going to the routines library, and those routines will load. And wherever you are, you can sort routines according to the way that they're tagged, okay? So if I'm saying, okay, I want to know how to do something at home, and I want to know, it's like I'm trying to figure out something to eat, uh, and trying to figure out dinner. So now I've sorted over here. When I go back over here, I've got these different routines that either we at Cognitopia have created or that other people have created. So we have a crowdsourcing option. If people really like a routine that they created and they want to uh, share it with other people, they can do that, right? So um, and they'll get credit for that, and it's not like you make a bunch of money doing that, but it's something that you can do. Maybe I want breakfast for dinner, so I go over here and I see a way to make French toast, and I go through here. I check out this video that's available, and I watch that. Uh, and then I say, yes, I would like this in my own collection, so I'm going to favorite it. And now when I go back to my routines, then I'm going to have uh, that routine in my collection. And I could find it by tags. I could also find it by searching on the name. I have two of them here. This one, you can tell by the gold star, this is the one I just favorited. And then I can go in here if I want. I can alter any of this content or these media that are here. You see this little microphone here. You can input your text content by speaking it in. There are also text to speech buttons wherever there's a text field. Um, it's also, the whole platform is screen reader compatible and accessible to adaptive computing users uh, through scanning. But also, if someone's using something like eye gaze, um, everything is single click, so you don't have to switch back and forth using Dwell software to switch from single click to double click to click and drag. We don't use click and drag, and we don't use double click. So it simplifies it for those users as well. Okay, so we've harvested a routine from the routines library. If I go back to my routines, I can create a new one, and I can say, okay, let me create a new routine, and I'm going to say, make coffee. And I'm going to go here. When you create a routine, you can add images from any of these sources here. Google image search is the default. You can add it from your camera, from your machine, from Google Drive. I'm going to just go with Google here, and I'm coffee image, and I'm a sort of a black coffee drinker, so I should have just specified black coffee, but that looks like a good one there. Okay, I'm just going to add that image. Now I've got a title and an image. I'm going to say, okay, where does this live? Okay, it's a home routine. It could be a work routine. Maybe I'll make this one a work routine, and I'll just save it as that. And that way, when I look for work routines with my tags, it'll show up. And I can say, okay, first step is uh, watch this video. And I'll go here and I'll say, make drip coffee. How to make pour over coffee. I could review these and see the one that I like best. I'm just going to pick this first one here. And now I save the changes. And then I can add, the details. But I've got this nice overview video that shows me how to do that. And I can say, okay, first, uh, put a filter in. I can add an image for that, but I've showed you how to do that, so I'm not going to take the time to do that right now. But you see how you can add images, you can add videos, you can do whatever you want. And then if I want, then I can just share this as a QR code, and then it'll I can print that out and use it again, in my kitchen. I can share it with other people that I'm connected with. If I'm helping someone be more independent, and I say, hey, I made this coffee routine for you. I can share it with them as a connection of mine. I can also, just copy a link and give it to them as well. Okay, so we've harvested from the routines library. We've created our own routine. You can also import tasks, okay? So if I flip over to my in here, I have a little document that has a set of steps in it for making coffee. And I'm going to say, here's my steps. I'm copying them. I'm going to paste them in here. And I'm going to say, add after existing tasks. Okay. So now I've got my steps of doing this based on some existing materials that I have, and I can customize those however I want. I can also go to our AI assistant and say, I want to make drip coffee. So I could say, okay, I like these steps, or, I could try another prompt. I could say, make drip coffee, for uh, 4 people with amounts of ingredients, and the AI engine would return that information. Because we're limited for time, I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to save and edit that. And so now I've got the AI created routine, and I can do what I did for the other, as I showed you for the others. I can add an image for this. I can change the title if I want. I can go ahead and add images and video. And we're actually working ferociously on having starter images and videos be provided by the AI engine, well, to make it even easier. So this is important for a couple of reasons. One is that it's not easy to do task analysis, so it makes it accessible to people with cognitive challenges. And then for people who are providing support, they may not be good at task analysis or know the steps of how to do X, Y, or Z, and they can ask for that help as well. So let me go back to my, I'm going to go back quickly to my slide deck here, just to make sure I showed you everything that I want. We talked about how to create routines, about how to, using tags to categorize them. We talked about accessing routines via QR code and how powerful that is. Using the routines library. Okay, I do want to show you one more thing, and this is important because one of the things that's in the routines library is, and you find it by going to the tags and saying, oh, I want to know how to do something on Cognitopia. So in the routines library, you can get detailed tutorials on doing anything on the platform, how to how to create content in my life, how to use the dashboard and support other people, how to create routines, as I've just shown you. Everything I've shown you is task analyzed using our own system. And then so you would go here and say, I just showed you how to find Cognitopia training routines. So here's a routine to show you how to find Cognitopia training routines. And they always have image illustrations. Sometimes they have video where that might be helpful as well. And these routines can be, so powerful in so many ways. This is a great example of like, it's not really how to do something, it's a reminder of what you can do. And so we worked with people with type 2 diabetes, and we also had developmental disabilities to, to use these tools to help them understand how to manage that condition, and then also to do some self-management. So the QR code for this routine was placed, we asked people to put it on their refrigerator, and when you're hungry, scan the code and you'll get some suggestions of healthy things to eat, so that, like most of us would, you don't go straight for the ice cream. So lots and lots of ways in work, in school, in community living participation to use routines. So I'm going to leave it at that and stop my share. And uh, if anybody has any questions, we can take those. And other, you know, just let me know. I see some notes in the chat. I'm not a great chat monitor. You see, we had a couple of folks pop in, so it's great. Scott, thanks for coming today. Let me know if you have any questions or if you need further information. You can ask Naomi to send you some of the materials that I've sent to her. So there is a cost sheet that I sent, I believe I sent to you, Naomi. If I didn't, I'll send you that. But let me, I can open up, I'll open up a pricing sheet here and then I'll share my screen again. Oh, I usually have a slide in there about this too. So let me share my screen. And as I said, I'd be happy to send this to you too. So there are three ways to get onto Cognitopia. One is the standard individual plan. So when an agency, when this is paid for through DD Services or Voc Rehab, as it can be, uh, it uh, it it's $499, and that includes the yearly subscription of $299, and then training hours in addition to that. We we have a discounted price for people who are paying out of their own pocket of $299 a year. That also comes with training. It's just a discount that we try to provide people who don't have access to another means. And then there are organizational plans that start with 15 individual user accounts, and then each user after that is $108 a year. So it ends up scaling very economically as the more people that an organization adds to it. And I should say, and I'm sorry I don't have this slide in this deck because I was just focused on routines today, but you can pay for it with VR funding if you're if you have an open caseload or if you're receiving pre-employment transition services. It can be paid for through community Medicaid funding, community waiver funding, as an assistive technology. And it can also be funded through a health savings account or a flex spending account or through an ABLE account if somebody has one of those.